Wow. A few things have come out on the Browns' 4th-round pick, Dawand Jones. Now, this is from Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated.
By the way, Crab had this stuff on when we had him on
and we talked
last week.
Yep.
So I'm not saying they're false. I'm not saying they're true.
I'm just saying Albert Breer told us some things that we hadn't heard before.
Well,
but when we had our guy on from Locked On,
he's good. He's good.
Really good.
And Kyle didn't have the specifics that Breer did, but he alluded to some of the things that
he did have specifics on the Senior Bowl
and the Pro
some
Day.
things that he pulled there. And Albert Breer said a lot of that. What we hadn't heard was the fact that he wanted to be an NBA player. That was his dream. That doesn't bother me one bit.
That didn't bother me at all.
So
I don't
let me
care
just
about
let me just
that.
read what Breer said. Steve, you can take a 165 full real quick just so everyone's on the same page. But according to Breer, these were some of the reported red flags about Dawand Jones that may have led to him sliding down in the drafts. He was mocked as a first-round pick by CBS, PFF, and the 33rd team. Beforehand, he fell to pick in the 4th round of the Browns. He's told teams reportedly that his dream was to play in the NBA, not the NFL. He had some fluctuating weight issues. He practiced in the first Senior Bowl practice, then shut it down for the rest of the week, and then it did not work out at Ohio State's Pro Day. So I guess my question is, even though we kind of knew some of this stuff in the immediate aftermath of the pick, Kyle told us on Monday, it's not like this was completely out of the blue stuff. Does this change at all now knowing that it's, I guess, a little more public that we love the pick on Saturday? Does it change your opinion on it whatsoever?
Nope.
No. For me,
I've looked at the tape.
For me, it's this. You know, what it is reminds me of is here's a young man who's gotten some bad advice along the way.
I agree with that.
He thought he was going to be a very high pick. That's why you don't work out at the Senior Bowl. That's why you're not working at Ohio State Pro Day, because you feel like I'm already solidified in this thing. I'm not doing that thing, right?
Right.
That's some very bad advice, and
It
does not bother me at all to say I wanted to do this than that. How many players do you say my first love was this, but I ended up doing that?
And you know what upsets me most about that, Brad? I'm going to give you a scenario. I don't know this is how it went down, but I've seen similar things transpire in conversations that I was actually a part of, or at least I was witness to. Maybe not a main part of the conversation, but I was a witness to it. And then I've watched how they get twisted and how they get turned.
Yep.
I'm not saying this is how it happened, but this is a scenario of how it goes down. So, you always dream of being an NFL player? Well, I got to tell you, when I was a kid, I loved basketball, man. Yep. And I thought I was going to be an NBA player. Well, then I was 370 pounds.
Right, right.
And that dream obviously. So, some idiot in a front office of one of these NFL teams.
You got it.
Decided to tell a reporter, oh, hell. You know, and it may have been a team. Here's part of the scenario, too. I'm just spitballing, but this is how these things happen.
Keep coming.
Maybe there was a team somewhere who needed an offensive lineman and passed on the big fella.
Yep.
And he was pressed by a reporter, you didn't get a lineman until the 5th round. And Jones was sitting there screaming at you guys.
Yep.
No, I didn't want to take. Well, what was wrong with him? Kid wanted to be an NBA star. He doesn't want to play in the NFL.
Nope.
I don't think he loves the game.
How this misinformation
that's how it works.
gets twisted, sadly, in part by people in my profession and by people in the front office that have an axe to grind or have an agenda.
The other thing, if he had a good representation in the front, somebody would have been battling that on the front side.
Right.
And they would have gave him.
To your main point,
and they would have gave him. He said, "No, we're going to the Senior Bowl. You're going to do your thing.
Yes.
We're going to Ohio State Pro Day. We're going to work out. We're going to say all the." Somebody would have been teaching him what to say, when to say it, right? As he's learning his way, so he can cut his own teeth. But at 21 years old, 22 years old, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know at all, right? And he listened to somebody say, "Oh, you're a guaranteed first rounder. You're a guaranteed."
You can only mess that up if you go to the Senior Bowl.
Right, exactly.
You can only mess that up if you run at Pro Day.
Think about it like this. You look at when people, because people do this for a living, right? So it's all about how plugged in you is and how truthful people tell you, right? If you're an agent, you talk to all these teams. Where's my guy? Where do you have him, right? If you get a bunch of conflicting answers all over the board, then you're saying, okay, well, we need to make sure that you go to the stuff so we can make sure that we can put all these fires out about you being 3rd or 4th round. So let's go do the stuff. But when you get bad information and everybody's telling you, oh, first round, and all of a sudden, you get your guy there, you tell him, don't go to this, don't run at this, we ain't doing a pro day, and guess what? All of a sudden you fall. Because think about it, his tape is better at his position than Anthony Richardson was at quarterback.
Oh my God! By leaps and bounds, Richardson had almost no tape.
No tape. Zero tape. And that guy moved from what are you doing? Look, that's the thing. But he had good advice.
There were scouts that said, oh, he should not come out.
What are you doing? What is he doing?
And where did he end up going?
And he just kept, every 5 minutes, I'm like, wow, because he knew he was going to test well.
I can speak to
He knew it.
I can speak to that on my own. So my senior year, I was finished second in the country rebounding behind David Robinson. And that's when they used to take all the first round NBA potential picks, the high draft picks, not first round, to Hawaii for the Aloha Classic where they would play for a week, right? So
a little like the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, like Senior Bowl. So it lasts for a week. So Ron Harper and I were on the same team Midwest. So Ron and I are friends from college days, right? He's coming out of Little Miami of Ohio, right? No, we went out there with the thing that you talked about the Senior Bowl. We went out there to prove that what you saw on tape
was real.
Yeah. Right?
Because back then it was an ACC bias.
Right. So we
it was like Big Ten.
So we went there, Ron out of the MAC, me out of Ohio State. We put all that to bed, right? And then we walked out of there and solidified our position. Now I'll go even further. There was the NCAA has, when they play the Final Four, they have an AllStar game of college, the pretty much top college players playing this NCAA All-Star game before the Final Four game.
Yeah.
Well, by the time I left Hawaii, some people were telling me, well, you don't need to play in that, right? They just look for bodies, right? And I was like, no, I'm going to go show this again.
Good for you.
I'm going to Dallas. I went to Dallas, and I did that in Dallas.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
So
right?
were there people that declined that? That's kind of
there are people that declined it, but I was putting every fire to bed here. Okay.
And you know what? Here's what it tells me. Not about your game. You're going to bet on yourself. I like that personality. Come play for me. Even the guy that hesitates to show someone what his skill set is, I don't know. I want that guy. I think it shows arrogance, where your decision and position showed confidence. Give me the confidence.
I'm going in here. I don't know none of these dudes from Adam. I never played with them, don't know them. I said, but in a 40-minute game, I'm going to survive it, right? I'm going to do well.
And you telling your agent, listen, I'm in control. Listen, you are my advocate, but I'm in control of the ship.
See, that's what, G. Bush, I'm so glad you said that. One of the things that I've said to younger talent when they've asked, not football, but in the business, and they say, should I have an agent? And I have never had an agent. I've always represented myself, done all my negotiations all through my years at ESPN. I was the only guy there that didn't. But here's what I would tell people. It's not for everybody. Negotiating for yourself is not for everybody. But understand that this is not a co-equal relationship.
Nope.
You are looking for someone that can find jobs for you. Don't let this person change your on-air style, have you try to be someone that you're not. Authentic works in television. And so I always tell people what you just said. You're the bus driver. He can be the navigator, but ultimately the bus is only going where you take it. Don't let him decide or her decide where you're going to take your bus.
And so
that's when you give up the wheel.
It sends a message if you don't. Here, we come to a house. They put the pro day camp in Columbus. You don't have to go far, right?
Right.
All you have to do is show.
Show up.
Right.
And
because the
perform.
NFL is a machine. It likes the way it runs.
Yeah.
It's just follow these steps and you'll be okay. But if you look like you're going to be outside of the steps, no.
He could have told his agent, here's what we're gonna do. I saw the way that they got big Orlando Brown Jr., right? I'm a lineman. I'm huge. I was 374. We ain't running no 40s. But what we going to show is how dominant I am. We going to show I got good feet. We going to do the drill work. Yeah. We going to come in, and we going to bring in some guys, some major offensive linemen, some Hall of Famers. Hey, I don't know what Anthony Munoz doing, But come on back here and have him talking to the scouts.
Yeah.
Why I'm
Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas. Why
What do you think of this
What you
kid?
think of this kid? And if you could go across the board and talk to him, and I'm gonna be getting my work in. Now it's different. Now that's your comfort zone.
Right.
If you asking me to just pass, that's like you. Hey, you want me to shoot? I put up 1,000 shots. That's nothing. I ain't gonna be playing one-on-one. You need a knockdown shooter. I might not be the best guy defensively, but what I'm gonna show is my strong suit. And they'll come away saying, at least he came to compete.
And that's fair, G. Bush. I've never understood why they make linemen run the 40 at the combine.
Who cares?
What are you doing?
Why?
When was the last time you needed
Why
an
are
offensive
they
tackle
linemen
to
running the 40?
sprint 40 yards?
I don't.
So I don't care. And maybe he said, I'm not doing that. Why do I need to be fast in a 40? But I want to show, or I at least want to see you perform the things that I need to see. Are you quick on your feet? What's your footwork like? How about your balance? Your upper body strength, your lower body strength. That's important to me.
Right.
And I think you're right, Brad. I think the kid got bad counsel.
Bad.
But do I feel any less excited about the pick?
Oh, no, I like the
Because I've heard
pick.
that? Not at all.
I'm even more excited because
I
y'all
am
tripped.
too.
Because I know I looked at y'all. They laughed at
They like
Orlando
it.
Brown Jr. and he became an All-Pro.
Yep.
He won a Super Bowl. He about to get. He's a second big max deal type dude. And he slipped a little bit because why? Like he couldn't run 40s, and they're like, "Oh my God, he doesn't look that pretty with his shirt off. He's a lineman."
The Browns like it because they got it for cheap.
For very
Yeah,
cheap.
it was a bargain. It was a
Yep.
value pick as far as he slipped. I always bring up Warren Sapp. And I used to love to hear Warren talk about his draft day experience and how he just sat there and he was just shaking his head going, oh, someone's going to get them a deal.
Yeah, they're gonna get a deal
Because it lit the fire in Warren, who was a fierce competitor to begin with, and all of those teams should have known about that. But because he had a marijuana hit,
Yeah.
And
he dropped as far as he was probably the best player in that draft, or one of them. He's a Hall of Famer.
I remember-
And he just kept slipping and slipping and slipping, and the Bucs finally said, oh, we got to take this kid.
I remember sitting there watching Sapp when he was there, right?
Okay.
And I'm watching the draft when I was very young. And the thing that people don't understand is character issues for me come from people that don't want to work hard. If you listen to Warren Sapp, even when you listen to him being in the league, he had a huge problem with Keyshawn Johnson because Keyshawn Johnson said to him, yo, come and get me. He said, I went to the front office and said, he the piece we missing. He the piece we missing. They give him a big time deal, and then we getting ready to put that work in. He said, well, for the Buccaneers, we always stay. He said, you come on, it's Florida. You come on down here, we gonna fish, we gonna work out, we gonna live here, we gonna eat together, and this how we gonna move.
And Keyshawn didn't
put
do
that
that.
work in. And Keyshawn did not stay for workouts, and Sapp was heated. He said, Lynch, Brooks, Barber, all of us down here. I lobbied for you, and you wouldn't come down here and break no bread with us in practice.
I was covering that team. I was there 5 years. That was part of it, including the championship, the Super Bowl team in 2002-03. They would try to play it off like it wasn't a big deal, but it was a huge deal.
Hot.
And what that team had was two factions to the locker room. You were with Keyshawn or you were with Warren.
Yep.
And the defense was all with Warren.
Damn.
And most of the offense was all with Keyshawn, but not all of it. And what happened through that was, and you're right, Warren was the guy that supposedly had, character flaws.
Yeah.
Because he got popped for marijuana before the draft. But I will tell you, from watching that team up close, no one worked harder.
Nope.
No one had more of a positive influence in that locker room than he did. No one wanted to win as badly as he did.
Okay.
And he loved football. He loved
for it.
every part, like the practice, the stuff like you wouldn't think that he liked.
Two-a-days in Orlando.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's crazy.
That ain't easy because now you're landlocked. You're in the middle of the state. You don't get the Gulf breezes. You don't get the ocean breezes. It was brutal. They trained at Disney at Wide World of Sports.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
And I'm telling you, it was 110 degrees on the surface when they would start at 11 o'clock. It was crazy.
And you're a lineman.
And he did the work.
He put the
He
work
did the
in.
So the character issues for me,
Nah.
when I look at Jones, I see a guy with something that you can't coach, that you're only born with, and that is a behemoth of a man. Weight issues, fluctuating weight issues, that's an issue. Talk to a lineman that doesn't have fluctuating weight issues.
What you talking about? You're looking at one. I'm not only this client, I'm the president of fluctuating weight decisions. What are you talking about?
You're the president of the FWI club. Fluctuating weight issue club.
Like some, you can argue about, man. G. Bush on below is like 215, but up top. Up top, he got that fluctuating weight. Listen, come on, bro. You a lineman. What do you expect?
I can't even believe that would be a criticism that someone would utter out loud. He's 6'8". He's 370?
Yeah, he according to Ohio State, he played at about 360, and then at the Senior Bowl weighed in about 375.
Do you know what that is? That's like a supersized McDonald's meal. For a guy like I mean, he eats probably 10,000 calories a day.
And
if you skip 2 or 3 workouts, yeah, you might pump up a little bit.
And by the way, I think people don't understand this. These guys have world class. These dudes, everything that they eat is chef has it. Like they got programs where if you need to cut weight, this is what you eat. If you need to gain weight, this is what you eat.
Right.
You get your shakes. Actually, to be truthful, it's even like that in college now. Like. It is not often where you find guys who don't have. All of them have nutritionists, and it's through the team.
The big program.
Yeah.
I had it at D3.
Yeah.
At D3, Ohio State definitely has it.
Yeah,
They all have it.
Come on, they know
all
what it is.
have it. And you know, I'm supposed to be concerned that he gained what, a 15-pound weight gain would be what percentage of his body weight at 370?
Very little.
I mean, we're talking about an infinitesimal weight pop.
And compare. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe they ain't seen Jedrick Wills play.
Who?
Maybe y'all ain't seen him play. Like at the end of the day, like I don't worry about the weight thing. I'm worried about people stopping in the middle of the play, looking around, getting people hit. I'm just saying. Like at the end of the day, the Browns and for one time I can say, the Browns are bringing in anybody that look like they got something. And they going to go into camp and they going to say, we can keep 90 of y'all. We going to work this thing out. Somebody going to come to the top. Somebody going to fall off. Who going to be? They got enough people to work like that. I'm looking for competition.
Yeah, I am too, and I think they've got it. And I think he's going to be a good player for a long time.